Okay, quick video today, just to talk about corrosion and winter maintenance for the ZSB. So this bike has been used every day. It's a 2019, actually came to us in quite a bit of a grotty condition. It was a bit rusty around the edges, so it has had some refinishing on it. So the swing arm, you can see the forks have been polished because the paint was all off them. And some other bits and pieces, just a bit of paint around the ancillaries and stuff. No real investment in money, just brush painted. The bike's been used every day for college. It's basically been wet since December. It's been wet for the best part of 3 months. It's come home wet, it goes in the garage wet, it comes out in the morning wet. It's virtually impossible. We've had such a wet winter, a salty winter. It's been real tough for bikes. I think all bikes have probably suffered with corrosion. As far as maintenance regime, it's been washed fairly regularly. A bit like this sort of wash actually. It's not a full-on wash. It's been sprayed with road film remover and then brushed down with a brush and then hosed down. So probably something like less than 10 minutes really. Just a very quick winter wash. That's happened on a fairly regular basis, most weekends. The bike has had a bit of spray put on it, maintenance spray on some of the components just to try and keep them in good condition, mainly the forks. You can see there's a tiny little bit of corrosion there, can you see that? On the forks, the real serious components, the brake components, stuff like that, just trying to keep them in good condition. And that's all it's really had really. Has been ridden in the salt, quite low light today, but it's quite a nice day. Apologies for that. And I think the bike stood up fairly well actually. We have replaced quite a few nuts and bolts with stainless steel. You can sort of see there's a few just cheap stuff off eBay. It's nothing expensive actually. I think a lot of these are from Screwfix. You buy them in a big bag for a few quid, so they're not particularly expensive. The bespoke nuts and bolts, they're the original Chinese stuff, so see around the engine and around the shock mounts and stuff like that, spindles. They're all the original and they've sort of held up really well. I'm sort of happy here. Let's have a look at the brakes. The brake discs, there's no corrosion here. You can see that this you can see which is the Chinese bolt here. It's got a bit of corrosion on it. That's not going to be expensive to replace if we need to. I'm not really too worried. Some of the chrome parts have stood up quite well. The cycle parts, excellent. There's no corrosion here, there's no corrosion around the headlamp. Mudguard side panel paint's all good. As I said, the swinging arm has already been repainted, so that sort of stood up okay. There's a few chips around the back, you'd expect. But that's it really. The shocks are a little bit corroded. You see that in that light. They're not particularly good shocks anyway. I'm not really massively worried. But you know, the standout items as far as corrosion's gone for this regime, and is the exhaust, and I'm not massively happy with the brake lines there. They seem to be okay at the ends where they've been washed, but here where it's difficult to wash them, and they obviously catch a lot of salt and stuff off the road. They've corroded, so maybe a new exhaust definitely. You can see we're held together here with a hose clip, of course. A new exhaust definitely on the cards probably at some point soon. And maybe some brake lines. Get some cheap brake lines. Or could just replace them with the Chinese, but it's probably best just to get some cheap ones off eBay. They're reasonable quality. Swap them over. But the bike stood up really well. Quite happy with it really. You know, I think any bike would have suffered in this sort of horrible winter if I'd used it every day. Even if I bought a Honda or something, I think it would be showing signs of a bit of wear. Anyway, there you go. Not as bad as you'd think. The reputation for these bikes just rotting away in the winter. Well, I can't help thinking a lot of it's just due to poor maintenance and not looking after the bikes properly, which of course definitely happens with 125s anyway. Okay, we'll wrap up there.